day and welcome to your favorite program, The Conversation on TV 360, coming to you right here from Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Nelson Ekujumi. I have with me here in the studio Peter Clever Opara. Peter, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you, Nelson.
Yes, like we all know, the Conversation is a topical program that discusses topical issues within the Nigerian polity and in the diaspora. So this day we are looking at the fuel subsidy removal, palliatives distribution. Peter, like we all know, the federal government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on assumption into office, removed the fuel subsidy, and the aftermath was that the government, brought out a policy to distribute palliatives, to the vulnerable in the society. But as we speak, Nigerians are still clamoring for the palliatives, even though we have seen, in some of the states as well as local governments, we have had reports, we have seen, footages of palliatives distribution. But even at the federal level, as we speak, the federal government and the organized labor, that's the NLC and TUC, are at loggerheads over palliatives distribution. So for me, I want to believe strongly that as much as the NLC and TUC at the federal level are holding the federal government accountable with regards to, palliatives, or should we say relief measures, one must also ask that the state councils of the labor centers, in what way are they holding the state governments accountable? Because we are aware that the federal government has announced the distribution of 5 billion naira and some, amount of a trailer of rice and grains to the states. So I want to ask that as much as we are holding the federal government accountable, in what way are we also holding the states as well as the local government accountable on this issue? What is your take?
Thank you. Coming to the issue of palliatives arising from the increment in fuel prices, or let's say deregulating the downstream sector of the Nigerian petroleum sector, I think the palliatives, I don't know how to really describe it, but for me, it is, well, let me agree that it is going on well. But the whole thing was that the government now made a certain amount of money and certain amount of grants available to the states. So if we now look at the success of the palliatives, we have to look at it from state to state. It's no more a federal government distributing palliatives to 200 million Nigerians.
Absolutely.
It is now the states. How do the states fare? And so far, well, we have gotten, it's a mixed bag. We hear stories, or let me say, see footages and pictures of states like Borno doing excellently well.
Absolutely.
Distributing, reaching out to the people and the government.
Even in Borno State, we even saw footages of, the government, launching, 50 mass transit buses.
Sure.
And we saw people in those buses who said they were boarding the buses for 50 naira per trip.
Okay.
So we also saw the footages of the distribution in Lagos, where a lot of groups were assembled, and it comprised the cleric, the market women, even the people living with disabilities. We saw footages of them so we have seen Lagos, we have seen Borno, we have also had in Kwara, where the state government reduced the workers' working days from 3 to 5 initially, before returning to 5. Then we also had reports from Ogun State, where the public sector workers' salaries, where they were awarded the 10,000 naira monthly. So we want to,
that is, we are getting it state by state.
Yes.
And how each state, approaches it is different from how others approach
Absolutely,
it.
I agree
We
with
are
you.
mentioning Borno because I think it's an exceptional case of success
Yes.
in reaching out the people that are supposed to be reached by these palliatives.
Yes.
Now, when you look at it very well, I use Borno as an instance. Many states, like you mentioned, Lagos, Kwara, and some other states,
Yes.
Benue, I've
Yes.
seen everything, are also doing well. But in some states, you may not necessarily, score that kind of success. We have had states where they say that, I think in a state like Abia, some people petitioned that in certain local governments, the palliatives are used and targeted at members of the ruling party in the state. Targeted at members of the instead of the poorest of the poor,
yes,
who are the main target of these. So in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that it has been a mixed bag. And no matter how successful it has been, I personally feel that the palliatives may not be enough to go around. This is a nation of 250 million people.
Yes.
And with that in view, I feel that what the government should have done is to focus much attention towards reducing the prices of food in the market.
Yes.
Reducing the prices of foodstuff.
Yes.
I believe it will go a long way in impacting on the level of inflation as we are having.
I agree with you, but you know that the palliatives or relief measures that we are talking about is a temporary measure.
Yeah.
Even the price of fuel that we are talking about, the world is moving away from fossil fuel because of greenhouse gases emission.
Sure.
We are talking about putting vehicles, operating machines, using solar energy, using clean energy to power them, such that the threat to human existence by fossil fuel will be greatly minimized. If you look at experts analysis, they will tell you that a large chunk of the airborne diseases are as a result of air pollution that we suffer every day, as well as noise pollution. Even though in this part of the world we recognize that Africa contribution to depleting the ozone layer is less than 5%.
Okay.
The major destroyers of the climate that we are talking about today, for which flood is affecting everybody today in Asia, they are battling with flood. Even here in our country, Nigeria, we are also not immune from flooding. You also recognize that in colder climates, now they are battling with wildfire, they are battling with heat. So that tells you clearly that whatever measure we are looking at, the government must also be looking at measures that will give us reliefs in the long run. Because if I have to power my car with petrol, with the way the global economic cost of petrol is, I will definitely, just like millions of persons and businesses, I will be run out of business.
I think that is at the root of the government's palliative initiative. Okay. It is about, the increment in the price of fuel led to maybe a quadrupling in the prices of other essentials.
Yes.
And like you said, yes, there has been an emphasis in reducing the fuel consumption worldwide. Yes. But those are, I will say, they are still long-term projections. For the meantime, we are talking about this increment. It has affected the people. We need to cushion the effects on them, and hence this idea of palliatives. And let us not lose sight to the fact that states, because the federal government just rolled out the initiative, and much of the application are in the states. States need to sit up, state by state, to ensure that the palliatives, which are a short-term measure to cushion reach the people. The targeted people are the most vulnerable in the society, the most vulnerable sectors of the people, and not maybe you see states, as I said, I mentioned the instance in Abia State, where it was reported, it was in the news. Some people petitioned that these palliatives are being used to settle party members, which is way out of the objective of the palliative measure. So let the state governments, who are the direct implementers, if you now talk of the local government gets from the states. The states allot to local governments, depending on the method or the mood through which they now share out these palliatives. Let them ensure that the targeted people get these palliatives. Yes, sometimes, but then let us not lose sight to the fact that we need to, as I said, do something very, very, drastic.
Urgent, yeah.
Yes, to reduce the prices of food. When you arrest food inflation, you find out that other inflations will definitely go down.
But and Peter,
yeah,
in arresting food inflation,
yes,
the question we should be asking, what is the cause of food inflation?
Yeah.
Is it that we don't have the land?
Okay.
Is it that we don't have enough men on the farms?
Yeah.
Is it that we are not applying new, agricultural methods to be able to become food self-sufficient? Is it that the insecurity that we have all, spoken out against? Is it that insecurity is driving the farmers from the farm and causing people to rustle cows and other agricultural investment? So I think going forward, I think we really need to sit down and address our food insufficiency, because like I'm a Yoruba man, and in my own part of the world, we say ti ebi ba kúrò ní ìṣẹ́ àbùṣebùṣe, meaning that when you solve your food problem, then every other problem becomes primary, because
it's simple.
Food is life.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
So I think we need to, with regards to these palliatives, I think we need to call on our people in the various states and local governments to speak up, to let us know the situation of the distribution of this. We know very well that there's no how, like our people also say, I want to use the Yoruba proverb, that you don't expect me to be walking and my neck will be like this when I'm not a carved image, you know. Somehow I will
have to bend it sideways.
So we don't expect perfection in the distribution, but we expect that the limitations that will occur will be as minimal as possible, because these palliatives or these relief measures is going to be implemented by human beings. So we expect that our people should speak up like our people in Abia have spoken up. We need to get reports from Kano, Sokoto, Kaduna, and another states, even in Osun, because we are not hearing any stories, any reports from these states.
I agree with you.
Is it that these state governments are not doing?
No, I agree with you. As you say, let them get that. Let's get that feedback from them.
Yes.
Are the palliatives reaching them? Are the targeted population being reached? Or is it being diverted? Those are very, very critical things that come into play in maybe monitoring the success of the palliative measures. But now back to the question you asked about agriculture. Like I say, it is very, very critical. We have the land, we have the men. I cannot say we have the necessary modern implements. And that now calls on the government to now pay more attention towards modernizing our agriculture. We have enough land in this country, and we have hands. Most of the people that roam this, they could be turned into productive hands in the agricultural center. And as you said, if by the time we meet that target, if by the time we solve the issue of food, that's a hunger problem, you find out that our problem will be solved by half. Yes.
Okay, well, thank you, Peter, very much. At this stage, we want to go on a short break. We'll be right back.